The river, honestly, but way more than that. So when the glaciers pushed up through Lake Erie to form the Great Lakes, they stopped and formed several ridges here. So on the north side of the river here, we have a lot of heavy clay soils, which aren't the best for viticulture, but we make do. On the other side, there's a lot of sand and shale, which creates the Pinot that you spoke about. And I actually buy my Pinot grapes from the south side of the river from Tony de Bevic at Chile de Vigne. The other component is maturation. Because the Great Lakes is just this great thermal body, it allows grapes to hang longer, keeps the heat in the atmosphere. And also on the opposite side, because it's so cold, it prevents early bud break, which mitigates the chance for a frost to hurt early buds. It does. We call it the Harpersfield breeze that tends to blow over the vineyard here, and it can be a hot day, and a lot of times we'll just, especially early in the spring, you get this beautiful cool breeze coming right off the lake. So I would be first generation. My brother and I actually founded the project, and my dad used to make wine in the basement and things like that, but I'm the one that actually went to school to do this on a commercial basis. The certificate program, which is all online, but it's incredibly intensive. I have my bachelor's of science in biology from Kent State here, and it challenged me more than anything I ever studied in undergrad. Just the intensity of the chemistry and the physics, and they want you to really know how to solve any winemaking problem. And really that's the beauty of the course. Just to make wine isn't rocket science, but once you have things start to go wrong, that's when you pull all those tools you learned at the program. So there's a gentleman named John Manis who's just a brilliant winemaker who's been making wine in the area for, I believe, over 25 years. He's helped quite a few other wineries get their start, including Lorello, Kasichik, and then he came on board with us and has been just a huge asset. So it goes back to actually my brother who I referenced earlier. He was a chef with Michael Simon, and a good friend of his, working in Cleveland, incredibly talented chef. And in the meantime, I was a scientist and a mom, and I loved wine, of course, absolutely loved wine. And together, I was living in South Carolina at the time, but really homesick. And so we were having just these conversations about how cool would it be to plug in his culinary skill set with my science and love for wine. And I was up here visiting, and I didn't want to go back to South Carolina. And I said, Greg, what do you think? Would you want to have a winery? Would you ever do it? And he's like, there's nothing I'd rather do in the whole wide world. Wow, and nice. So that started the ball rolling, and it took a long time to reach critical mass. I'd say about 3 years before it actually looked like it was going to materialize. Sure. The winery itself started in 2014. We put the vines in 2011, and we bought this property in 2009. It was an old ranch home that we completely converted into the winery. Extremely difficult. That regulations was, licensing. Our federal application through the TTB got declined, I think, 8 times over things like a zip code being wrong, or my brother put the application and put Harpersfield, Ohio instead of Geneva, Ohio, because we were new to the area, and they rejected it just on the basis that we put Harpersfield instead of Geneva. So the regulations, it's not for the faint of heart. Every time I hit a wall, I just refused to stop. I just kept going. I'm like, walk into the wall until it falls down. Don't get in the wine business if you want to become rich, honestly. Yeah. You gotta love it. It's that you can be in this exceptionally beautiful growing area and get away with buying $7 a gallon juice from California and still be a full Ohio winery and sit right next to us. Not that Harpersfield does not do that, but there are several wineries in the area, and I won't name them. They can figure out by reading the labels that do. Sure. And to me, it's just so unauthentic, and they're using our natural resource without using what makes it special as being an AVA. And for us, it's anywhere from, on the low end with a Niagara Concord, $6 a gallon to produce it. But once you get past that into the Rieslings and the Chardonnays, for a Grand River Valley juice, the grapes per ton, you're looking at $12 to $20 a gallon. So it's hard. Talk about trying to be competitive. That's what drives me crazy, because I can't compete with somebody like that from a cost standpoint, and I won't. To me, it's about integrity. If you're going to do it right or don't do it. It was extremely intimidating. I looked at Nick Ferranti and Tony DeBevick as idols when I was coming up here in my 20s going to the wineries. If you would have told me then this was going to be real, I would have just laughed. So it was incredibly intimidating. But what made it not intimidating is the way that they embraced me. And as a young female winemaker, I thought I was going to get laughed out of town. But I was able to hold my own in conversations with them, and I committed as a business owner to using Grand River Valley fruit. You can walk into a lot of wineries here, read the label, and see California or Washington on a lot of the wines. And I think once they realized I was serious about using the grapes, using this natural resource, they gained respect. And like I said, I'd buy a lot of my grapes from Tony during harvest, and we worked together. And our business model was a little different in that I wanted our customers to be first. I've been to so many wineries throughout the years here and sat and just was ignored or treated like I must not know much about wine. And so we wanted it to be approachable for everybody and greet everybody with love and kindness. And from the day we opened the door, my mom, who runs the tasting room, is brilliant with people. She knew 90% of the customers' names that would come in, and she would remember them week after week. You can't compete with that love. And I mean, it'll sound hippie, but when people ask me the secret to the business, it's love. We love our customers. It's exciting. It's thrilling. Hundley Cellars at www.hundleycellars.com, or you can reach us by phone at 440-361-3088. We also have a big Facebook presence. Just look up Hundley Cellars. That's where we put a lot of our events.